Hello everyone, welcome back to the Football Uncensored podcast with me, Rob Curtin, and John Sitton. We're going to not quite pick up where we left off. We're going to move on to the Premier League, and as we stated, probably try and focus a little bit on Chelsea. I started the last episode with a word for England, underwhelming. I'm going to start with a word for this one in Chelsea, and I'm going to say roller coaster.
Hmm.
Given the few weeks since we've last recorded. When we were recording one a few weeks ago, Spurs were playing Chelsea at the time.
Yep.
They've then since played City, and then this weekend just gone Newcastle,
Yep.
and a little bit of variety, John. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Where do you start? Really, the Tottenham game was mad. I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think they've probably got a lot of help from the fact that it got everyone's blood up because they're massive rivals. They're even at every level when I played, they're always massive rivals for some reason. That gives everyone an extra edge. I thought they were helped massively by the fact that two players got sent off.
Mm.
Um, so a bit of a false reading, really. Then you go into the City game. I don't know. Is it a bit cliche to say if you're going to score four, you should expect to win the game? All right, it's City.
Probably.
Um, all right, okay, it's Man City. It was a bit of a ding dong. But again, another false reading because champions elect have held them to a draw, which I think it shows since Roman Abramovich has left and his sidekick behind the scenes, the lady. I can't pronounce her surname, Marina. I think since they left, things have taken a downward turn. Probably similar to how it has at Man United with since Ferguson left. You understand? There's stuff in place. There's stuff that's tried and tested. There's a blueprint. There's a way the clubs run. There's a mentality in particular. There's an intensity in particular. Goodness me, two words I've mentioned 28 years ago. Um, when it was my brief turn, but the bottom line is they were getting results. Now I think ever since, and then coupled with the fact that he's a new guy on the block and he wants to try and impress everybody, and I think he's gone the wrong way about it entirely, and he's had his pants pulled down on a lot of transfers. The one that sticks in my craw the most is the left back. I honestly believe the only thing, if he didn't have his hair, I'm thinking, would you even know he was playing? You understand, with that hair, you're like bobbing around in the Alice band and all that. The only thing to me noticeable about him that's extraordinary as I get older and I'm losing mine is his hair. I think I've said it, like he's not a threat going forward, which in these day of wing backs, you think to yourself, where they going with this one? I think he's probably been bought in, he's filling in. And he's been lucky in the respect that Chilwell's been a bit injury prone. He plays, which is fair enough at the right time. He plays 10, 15 yard, 6 yard sensible balls to maintain possession. But his defending is absolutely nothing short of criminal. Not only that, he's a massive weakness as a consequence of that. And I come up against him myself. Even at our low level, because of his physical stature. And you'll see some teams what they did and what they will do is they'll get a big fella peel round and make it like Bendy's run round the back, maybe the far post or slightly beyond the far post, and go and stand on him. And then whoever's on the ball, they'll tell him to stand it up at the far post, and it'll either be an attempt on goal because he's got no chance of getting up and winning it, or it'll be an header back across. Having said that, a little bit in his defence, the Newcastle game, everybody was in the same boat. The defending was despicable. I would never have got away with it in my day. In actual fact, I got absolutely hammered, lambasted for two bad league games out of 14 and a bad friendly against Crystal Palace where we got hammered 5-0 in pre-season. But it was nothing short. I'm telling you now, nothing short of an embarrassing shambles, in my opinion. And that's not harsh. That's not harsh. Every decision made was the wrong decision. When it comes to sharing the ball and keeping possession, it's got to a stage where it's people are dwelling on the ball and controlling it and looking up and posturing and passing for the sake of passing. Again, we've had no credit. We've got no traction. We're giving up a lot of free time. What little free time we have, We've had no money out of it. All these predictions were made weeks and weeks and weeks ago, particularly with regards to Silva, who had an absolute disaster yesterday, a mare beyond the mare, and yet he's the one that they rely upon as a leader. I said, what is he, 36 with a glass knee? And
He's older, John.
37,
he's older.
37, 38.
Keep going, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's come to something. It's come to something when you've had your Carvalhos and your under Jose and your John Terrys and Marcel Desailly, the likes of these people at centre back, and now you're relying on a 30-odd-year-old, near enough 40-year-old with a glass knee to lead the back four. And I told you the people around him they're not good enough. I said about Reece James, his biggest thing. Oh dear, not another one we've got in the wing column. I said when the ball's on the other side, that's when he's most vulnerable. Yesterday it was when the ball was on the other side, but Chelsea had the ball, and then when it's got switched to him, these are basics. If listen, what I'm going to say to you, right? If you see someone's pinged you a ball, and you see someone closing you down within your field of vision, like peripheral vision, right? So it's been pinged, and first of all he's facing into the pitch, which is the wrong thing to do. It should be backwards a square, so his first touch is into the game, right? Right, okay, got that one wrong, but fair enough. You can rectify it, because as the ball's paid to you and you see someone closing you down out of the corner of your eye, what you do is you control the ball on the outside. You don't think, oh, I'm going to do him because he's going to overshoot. Right, we're talking. I think was it Anthony Gordon who he pulled down for the red card.
It was Anthony Gordon, and
another one in the wing column, but didn't get picked for the England squad. But another one in the wing column, with regards to energy and pace and playing off the front, like we suggested in a few podcasts ago. And now he's started to do it. He's reaping the rewards, right? But what he's done, he thinks, he's going too fast. He's going to overshoot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mug him, and I'm going to control it back into him and past him, and then play. Well, it never happened like that, because he checked, and his first touch was poor. Then he's pinched it. He's away, and he's got to do the pull back and give it all that and hope for the best, expect the worst, and the worst came. Got the red card. You know what I mean? But when I look at the marking in the box for two of the goals, I would never have got away with it. When I looked at how deep they defended, when I look at how they for one of them, I would never have got away with it. So there's no leaders bossing it to squeeze and restrict the space. So there's another ingredient for defending. What I said to you about buying time, delaying, making play predictable. Another one would be squeezing and restricting space. And we never did that, or they never did that. I say we, because it was the first club I played for, but no, I would never have got away with that in my day. No. So it begs the question, if like he's talking, we're in the middle of a process and we're in the middle of a project, and all, what's the project? What are you doing during the week, for fuck's sake? What's going on?
I hate those words.
I'm telling you now, when you said about roller coaster, the closest that looked to a roller coaster over them 3 games is the fact, right, that everybody is treating it like a day at the fairground. They're approaching it and playing it. They're seriously, because they're just doing they're doing what they want. There was no pattern. There was no relative pattern. There was no discipline with regards to the shape when they lost the ball. Someone used, I said, that's fantastic. Someone said about it, well, if we're going to push on, it's got to be more discipline than that. Because he said, I want the captain to stamp his authority and this and that. He ain't captain material. He's not captain material. I don't know why he's made him captain. I'll tell you why he's not captain material, because his personality is not big enough. I ain't saying he ain't a good player. He's an England international, for Christ's sake. Although I do happen to think he's very, very, very vulnerable, and I will pick Cole Walker every time over him when it comes to defensive duties. Although he's probably got a little bit more quality going forward in terms of his crossing ability. And like them little ones that you fade in behind a retreating or pinpointing one, or fade in behind a retreating back 3 or back 4 or 2 centre backs. He's very good at that, right? But he ain't got a big enough personality to be captain. You know,
like you say, John. Sorry to interrupt you. Like you say, we mentioned you mentioned Kyle Walker and spoke highly of him in the last cast. What do you want? What do you want of your defender? Do you want him primarily to be a good defender who can do a bit, or do you want him to be someone who can do quite a lot, and is not the greatest defender? For me, no brainer.
Yeah, it is, and yet the way the thing you'll have people arguing the point that the way it's going, you want 11 footballers, including the goalkeeper. I mean, you look at Allison compared to the City geezer. What's his name? Edison.
Edison.
Edison. You look at
Edison. Yeah.
you look at the composure and the technique with regards to the distribution. There was chalk and cheese in the same game, chalk and cheese. You understand? But you're looking now. You're saying, well, you might as well not bother with formations. Funny thing is, he was one of the great innovators of that. The man we were talking about in the first episode, Mr. Venables. You know, I was talking to one of his ex-youngsters who came to Orient, Ian Endon. He always used to say, when Venables put a session on, he said that don't be afraid or wonder like, what am I doing here or where? He said when you've like rotated and you find yourself in a different position, he said don't worry, don't start panicking or worrying. It's all part of it. He said, and then when the ball goes dead or the ball goes over the other side, that's when you can switch back with whoever you've rotated with and whatever. Don't be alarmed if you get caught in a position that seems strange, because it's all part of the construction in terms of building going forward. Yeah, but Chelsea, I mean, what are you looking at? Maybe Sterling, the only bright light at the moment. Maybe Gallagher putting himself about, getting his foot in.
Palmer, maybe the lad they nabbed from Cole Palmer, the lad they nabbed from City.
Yeah. But in terms of
English
mentality, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, and he's got that sort of composed, sort of languid way about him. But then it begs the question: if he's not good enough for City, what makes anyone think he's good enough for Chelsea? As in the previous mentality and the previous winning mentality and the previous attitude. You understand what I'm trying to say? That's where definitely the left back, he don't come anywhere near it for me. 50 million for that. I mean, I don't know how you pronounce his name. I just said, well, get me in as an advisor. I know, all right, I'll upset a few, and I might swear in the wrong company, which I would, I wouldn't really, but I'm just tongue in cheek, like being self-deprecating. But he's had his pants pulled down. 50 million for that? Nah. To say, well, look what I've spent 600 million on players. Look, I'm a new owner. These are my intentions. You go slowly. You know what I mean? And unless you can get someone who's super duper and pluck them from under someone's nose, like they did years ago with Ronaldo, with Ferguson did with Ronaldo from under Arsenal's nose, you don't steam in on anyone. And I think he's had his pants pulled down to the tune of 600 million. And I think it's never more plainly evident than now. And it was never more plainly evident. This is the contrast, right? Whether or not they've got money to spend and throw at the thing is open to conjecture. Because if you look at the thing on Amazon with regards to Newcastle, they seem to want to drive a very hard bargain for every single thing that they get, every player that they buy or every bit of business they do. And there's the contrast. There's the contrast. Well, that's how you run a football club. You don't just throw money like confetti. And I think although a lot of it was done before Pochettino arrived, fair enough, I agree with that point. But the contrast with regards to Eddie Howe, the way he's been very cautious in his approach on who he purchases. Well, not really. No, we're all right. We've got plenty there. Starting with Trippier, who's been one of the most unbelievable performers since he arrived in the Premier League on a consistent level. Unbelievable performers in terms of quality and leadership. It's chalk and cheese. It really is.
Well, you said it yourself. I forget the sentence you just used, but the Chelsea-Newcastle comparison, yeah, chalk and cheese, like you say. Chelsea is the new owner's come in and he's just gone, all right, 0 to 60 in 1 second. And it's just like throw money. And Eddie Howe and the Newcastle board, as you said in previous episodes of this, and because I asked you the question and you went, oh, no, and watched the documentary, more measured and very aware of the financial rules and the constraints and what they can spend and what they can't spend or what they could spend if they get into Europe, etc., etc.
Yeah.
As you said, the word measured, and the contrast I agree with you. It couldn't be greater between Chelsea and Newcastle, and we'll see at the end of the season on who finishes higher. And I think, well, we've kind of discussed that a little bit as well. Circling back to the person who, interestingly, this week you're struggling to pronounce one, and I might be able to correct you on it. Unlike a couple of episodes ago when you gave me a couple of elocution lessons.
Go on.
I'm going to go with Cucurella is your Spanish left back from Brighton, who they signed £50 million
Yeah.
down.
You rolled the L, didn't you? Like paella. Yeah, you rolled the L.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I've been to Spain recently. Hands up.
It might as well be a plate of paella.
Yeah, well,
it don't do it. It just don't do it for me. It just don't do nothing for me. It just does not. It don't do anything whatsoever for me.
Yeah, and you spoke earlier about marking and big man, little man. Going back to the Chelsea City game, or the City Chelsea game, more accurately.
Yeah.
I think it led to the City penalty. He was marking Haaland, and I think Haaland gave him a little bit of a tug. I'm sure you as a centre back will know better than anyone. When a set piece or a cross or anything comes in, there's a little bit of argy-bargy, there's a little bit of jostling. And I think Haaland gave him a bit of a tug or a nudge, and he reacted, and that's, as a result, the penalty was given.
Yeah, I mean, the argy-bargy and the push, I didn't really get involved in, because I was in 99 times out of 100, I was in the right place. And that means basically you get your body line into their body line, you get your arm out, what they used to call, like, you make that armour still so they don't get across you. And then basically it's like you do a session on it, like they should have been doing a session with Spurs with regards to one of the goals they conceded. They conceded too much ground. They retreated too deep, and you do a session on that. But one of the sessions with regards to just one-touch clearances in the box, assess the flight, make a decision, put a name on it, and then deal with it, get a surface to it. So either your head or a side foot. But that's going to happen. I mean, I honestly and truly, that I didn't realise that in terms of like what you've just said, I didn't realise that was the case so much, because within 24 hours, my memory's playing tricks, unless it's certain things. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive weakness. So it comes as no surprise to me that a team would play on it.
Like you say, I think when Chilwell comes, if and when Chilwell gets back from his latest injury, I think it's safe to say Chilwell's first choice, probably left back for Chelsea or left wing back, whichever formation Pochettino eventually settles on. But
in which case, why'd you spunk 50 million? You understand?
Well,
if you're bringing someone in, it's got to be someone as good, preferably better. What I will say about Chilwell, he's much better than the other geezer going forward, and he helps make the numbers up in the box when the ball's on the right. And he'll creep up on the far post, or he'll do the thing where if someone peels around the back, he'll get across them. He'll get across his teammate and make up the ground and end up in the middle of in the penalty spot area in the second 6-yard box. But he's no great shakes either defensively. I just think it suits him to be part of a back five.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, interrupt. Does that depend a lot? You mentioned about sneaking at the back when the opposite number's got the ball looking for a cross. Does that depend a lot on the formation if they're playing the five at the back and the wing backs?
Yeah, very much so.
Or a back four?
Yeah, very much so. But even when we played a four, what I would coach the furthest midfield player. So if you got one zoning, you've got the nearest one probably involved in the build-up. You've got one zoning, if it goes in, it gets headed out or cleared. You want him mopping up, tidying up, or keeping the pressure on the ball to maybe get win a second ball and keep the opposition under sustained pressure. The furthest midfield player I would always have arriving in the box, helping make the numbers up to flood the box. But even if I had a back four, I would ask the fullback to basically tuck in. So if they get out, they've got to go the long way round. If that sounds like it makes sense. So you're nice at all times. Nicely, it's all about remaining compact. If so, you hope for the best when the ball goes into the box. You've catered in your hope for the best, but you also cater for the worst if it pops out. Yeah. What I'd see, the thing is, Rob, this is one of the things that was said in previous episodes. I said that Chelsea are going to struggle defensively, and they've blown hot and cold. You want consistency. in a back four or a back five. You want consistency in your goalkeeper and your defenders. And yet they can, at the end of 90 minutes, they could have been anything. They could have been magnificent. They could have been like they were yesterday, like a non-league side who met each other at 10-3. You know what I mean? With all the tentative going to pass it and then they stab it and the geezer breaks away, Bruno, and smashes it in the net. I think it was Bruno. I'm not sure anyway. He pinched it, didn't he, off of Silva and smashed it in the net.
Yeah,
What's that about? Make a decision. Let it run across your body and play it forward, or go back to the goalkeeper, one touch. You don't touch and tentative touch, bomb, he's in. You know what I mean? Like I said, what were the marking in the box? I would never got away with it in my day. People like years ago, you made a mistake, you got absolutely annihilated. You got hammered. Not all this put your arm round, pick him up, and let's have a talk and a football psychology lesson and talk to the what do you call it, the club shrink or whatever. You know, it was none of that.
Different time, John, in it, different world.
Yeah, and yet the game remains the same.
Well, and there's the key, like you said,
different time, different
times.
world. And it's like I've said before, like I've always said, just in general conversation, because someone comes up with an idea, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. Because someone comes up with an idea and it is a good idea, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a better idea. Right? So, like you say, different time, different era, but it's still the same game.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same habits. It's still the same techniques. It's still the same. The pitches are massively better. The training, recovery, stretching programs, diet and nutrition, advice on diet and athleticism is much better. Between game habits, I'm not sure they're much better, but like I say, it's the same game. It's the same game. And whoever, it's like I said at England level, whoever's can take the ball by the horns. And he said it, Graham Souness, on a YouTube thing with Jordan. He said City's one of the few clubs where the tail don't wag the dog. I think it's significant, the fact that the manager has got a grip of it. And at Liverpool, where the manager's got a grip of it, Arteta, when I've stuck up for him month after month. He's now rung up 200 games in the Premier League as manager of Arsenal, and people were screaming to get rid of him when they got done at the start of last year by Brentford 3-0, right? He sorted out the Aubameyang situation, and it made me laugh. I couldn't stop laughing when he said it, with his Spanish accent as well. In Spain, they call it Casa Pepe. And the geezer's like that. And he said, well, what it means is anybody can do whatever the fuck they want. He said, you can't have that. And I said, you'll do for me, son. You will do for me. Apart from the fact he knows football and he can coach football off. You've got to have a situation. I don't think that's the case at Chelsea. Seriously.
Well, just like I say, just leading down out of shot. Apologies. You mentioned Pep, Klopp, Arteta. Not in the order I've just said. They sit 1, 2, and 3 in the league. Arsenal top, City second, Liverpool third after the weekend results. Tonight's game, Fulham Wolves, isn't going to affect that. So
the bottom line is every club, Rob, every club and every manager, right, within that club has got to have their own agenda. It's got to be married to what the board want, or you've got to pair up together as a partnership with regards to how you take the club forward. I think it's no coincidence, because football, a lot of football is bluff and counter bluff. You understand? It's story and fairy tales and fantasy after fantasy. You understand? And the situation is, you've got all the, and people giving it all that in front of the crowd. They've nicked that off of Klopp as well. They're giving it all that when they nick a win, right? They've nicked that off. But it's no coincidence that the 3 strongest managers are in the top 3. You've probably got the exception of the Villa geezer. He don't look like he takes any shit. And then maybe Moyes is very right. There you go. And then you've got Moyes, who's very old school in terms of being pragmatic. Knows the it's his words about the Premier League being about margins. He's not that naive whereby he'll stick to some sort of ideology, even though Burnley started the game better. He'll stick to pragmatism, and he'll play the percentages, and that's how West Ham got the result, or one of the reasons why they got the result.
One of the reasons why they got the result. Let's like I say, conscious of time. We've spoken a bit about Chelsea. We've said before we could talk about Chelsea for ages and ages, but let's move on a little bit, and we'll stick to the London theme. You mentioned a couple there. West Ham and Moyes, the most recent, and they won the last two, I think, including obviously Burnley at the weekend, and I think they. I'm going to check my notes. I'm going to cheat ever so slightly. They beat Forest last weekend. Both come from behind victories, 3-2 and 2-1.
Yeah.
You said the key word. You said the word pragmatism for Moyes.
Yeah.
Is that his key element?
I'd say probably yes. I'd say probably one. Yeah, probably one of his main ingredients. Yeah, he's a realist. You know what I see is probably something that Chelsea ain't got at the moment. I see, especially when they lose the ball, a great deal of a lot of discipline with regards to how they get their shape back. I should imagine they work on that kind of thing. They can work on certain strategies going forward. Yeah, I would suggest that's probably one of his main things. That's born of experience. That's born of experience in the top flight. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, was the other geezer where he played yesterday. Unbelievable experience as a player, and a big leader as a player, and a big asset. But now it's like I've been saying for quite some time. He probably ain't got the players to fit his ideology. You know what I mean? But he won't cave. He won't concede. He won't play the percentages. He'd rather stick to his principles. And what's happening is he's been punished. He continues to be punished.
Yeah, I think it's now. I think it's now 7. I'll check this. I think it's 7 home. They've lost their opening 7 home games. Burnley. I think they broke the record a couple of weeks ago, and it was 5. And now they've lost their opening 7 home games, which is not a great foundation. It's fair to say.
Well, I was very optimistic when I saw a thing, and I was shouting the virtues of Sheffield United and thinking they'd have enough to get out of it. Having had a rethink in the last one, probably not. I said Luton, they've got given themselves a chance because of their approach, which I said it's very, to me, very reminiscent of the probably a more refined version of Wimbledon. Very physical, very in your face, very athletic. Play the percentages, get the ball in the box at most available opportunities. Good from set pieces or decent from set pieces. They've got a chance. I just don't see Burnley having any chance whatsoever. I just thought they're not good enough at the back. Really right through the middle of the side. They're not really particularly good passing and movement in midfield, and they've got no real goals in the team.
No, it certainly don't look great for them, and a good comeback win for West Ham. Sticking with the London theme, we can't not talk about Arsenal. They are early days, but we are a third of the way through the season, so it's all relative. But Arsenal, after the weekend, they have snuck back to the top and beat Brentford at the weekend 1-0. Didn't play brilliantly, according to some. I've only seen the match of the day highlights. I didn't watch it live, but end of the day, 1-0 win. They ground out another one, and they're missing a few players, but still doing well.
Yeah, I think they highlighted on Match of the Day last night. It's funny. Again, we've mentioned it on here. I've said it. The bottom line is, I said they need to address what they're doing defensively. They need to sort out what's going on at the back. And once they do that, because you need that nice sort of mixture, that formula of being, if it's an open game and you've got the players to play innovative, inventive, imaginative football like they have, and pop it around, and players with trickery like they have and pop it around the way they can, then they'll win games, right? But when they're in a tight game, I said they need to sort out and get back to the Arsenal of old, which I said on previous podcasts. And it's funny how all of a sudden it's reared its head. I said, back to the George Graham days of 1-0 to the Arsenal. when they used to sing it, right? Because there's no disgrace or there's no embarrassment in grinding out a 1-0. In actual fact, I used to think it was the best scoreline in football. If you nick to 1-0, it means that someone's done their job in terms of like the goal threat, and you've kept a clean sheet, which means a good all-round perfect team performance, right? 2-0 is comfortable, 3-0 is emphatic. 3-0 and above is emphatic, right? And I said they've got to get back to the days of the old school Arsenal, where if they need to grind out a result, lo and behold, on Match of the Day 2 last night, they highlighted the fact and they put all these stats up that they've improved in certain 3 or 4 areas, and they're hard to play against. And these are the things that we said on previous podcasts that needed addressing. So good for them. Good for them. Because although I still happen to think the main threat to City will be from Liverpool, I would love it if Arsenal turned them both over, for the simple reason they're a London club. I want London clubs to do well in the Premier League, and I want all British clubs to do well in Europe.
Yeah, fair point. I'd love Arsenal to win. I really would. Out of the 3, I'd love Arsenal to win it. But you referenced City, Liverpool there. Obviously, played each other at the weekend. We're running a little low on time. We've got a little bit left. But City, Liverpool played at the weekend.
Yeah.
Slugged out a 1-1 draw. It wasn't. I watched it live. I don't think it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but a decent result for either side. Do you think, John? I don't know what you think.
Yeah, well, I think it's a better result for Liverpool than it is for City, because I thought the goalkeeper, although he made 2 or 3 really outstanding saves, I thought he had a nightmare. Other than that, and I thought what got Liverpool through was what I spoke about earlier. You don't always have to rivet yourself into someone to win the ball and go smashing through someone, or win a 50-50, or sometimes you just got to go and threaten the ball, and then when it's passed, get your shape back. And I thought Liverpool did it to perfection. I thought their discipline was magnificent, what I looked at. And although City had good patches, good spells in the game, I thought a draw was a fair result in the end. You know what I mean? I thought it was like maybe sort of 20 minutes or so where they were sort of sparring to and fro, and there was like maybe a period where Liverpool dominated for 20 minutes. I thought the rest went to City, so maybe the other 50 minutes plus on and off throughout the 2 halves. And I thought Liverpool were a fantastic example on how you should approach a game against City, because too many people go flying in and they just get played. People play round them. City play round them, and they get the ball into a dangerous area. Then you're looking at the execution. And the players they've got have got magnificent technique. So inevitably, 9 times out of 10, the execution of the cross or the pass or the finish is first class. But what you've got to do is you've got to stop them, which I thought, again, unless my memory's playing tricks, I thought they did well on a lot of occasions, keeping Man City out of their penalty area. And I've always said on these podcasts in previous time, not enough teams, not enough clubs work hard enough to keep the opposition out of their penalty area. And then when it did, Alisson made some outstanding saves. All right. The only thing that let him down was his distribution. But you have days like that. You have days like that.
You do.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have days like that, you know, the club says, you got to go. You're not for us. And they let you go. Palace Chelsea 5-0 in a pre-season friendly. Oh my!
We ain't got time to work out the moment.
We ain't got time to reminisce.
Maybe another episode. We'll work out. We'll do the podcast revisited, a bit like the big match.
Match of the Day review. Yeah. Well, we've done a lot of revisiting.
We have.
You know what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a bit more. Watch, like, subscribe, and share in capital letters. Share, because a lot of what we predicted on these podcasts is now all coming to fruition, and we're not getting enough credit for it.
You're not.
I'm used to it. Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm talking about. I don't know if I'm talking Norwegian sometimes. The other day I was talking about the future of the topographical knowledge of London and the black cab trade, and I said that I think it would be wrong to have a fast track knowledge. So I don't know what part of I think it would be wrong to have a fast track knowledge translates to what you're doing having a pop at the trade that's giving you a good living from someone who holds a nose pipe for a living. But there we go. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw.
I'm obviously struggling all my life to word things appropriately.
Yeah, Well, I saw that, and a lot of your followers saw that, and it was a big old thread this week, and you had you got stuck into a healthy debate.
I was having a healthy debate
You
until
were
some
sorry, you were yeah,
couple of
you were
other
having
people
it.
poked their nose in. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But like I said, he poked his nose in. I'm struggling to see how that even correlates. I don't agree with a fast track knowledge. I don't agree. I don't want to be working side by side with second tier minicab drivers who have been pushed through the system. Somehow that translated into me slagging the trade off that's giving me a good living. First of all, how am I slagging the trade off? Secondly, how does he know it's giving me a good living? Thirdly, I said, if you think it's that good, put your hose pipe down and give up your job, give up your pension, and get out here and work full time. He went all quiet. I said, or another way of putting it is, how about if me and a load of other cab drivers come to your place of work and say, right, knock it on the head, we'll take it from here, and we'll have half your salary and half your pension. All of a sudden, it went quiet. I got called a few names. I said, okay, there's only one way to find that out, even at my age. He said, oh, he mentioned his age. I said, well, only once, in the respect that I'm not a leather ass. I don't do 16-hour days anymore. I said, but don't let that put you off. Yeah. In the end, we went our separate ways. Yeah.
probably wise, probably wise. I imagine. I don't know the geezer. I saw the debate. I read the debate. I read the debate within. Sorry, to correct myself there.
Mm.
I read the debate you were having with some other chap about the trade and about the knowledge, and then
Well,
this guy stuck. Then this guy stuck his hose in, as you put it.
yeah. Then another one.
Metaphor.
Then another one did. Yeah. But I suppose it's like firemen sticking together. But that's when
Yeah,
I
I mean,
said, that's when I said, I'll tell you what, if you think it's that good, get out here full time, give your job up, put your hose pipe down, give up your pension and get out here full time if you think it's that good. You know what I mean? If you want to stay part time, then what I said is let me come into your workplace and do half of your hours and take half your money and half your pension. All of a sudden, it went quiet. But I got called a few names, but you expect that. And the irony being, they said, one of them said, he called me a few names and he said, you can't debate. You're a coward. You can't debate. You're a coward. You're a cowardly cunt. Yeah, you can't debate. Yeah, charming, eh?
Charming, and as you say, I'd like to see his reaction if he about halfway through the shift, if you and a dozen of your black cab brethren,
yeah,
rocked up at the station and went, "You go and have a sandwich. We're going to do a bit now."
Yeah, we'll take over from here. Yeah,
I can't imagine it going down too well.
No, of course it wouldn't. Yeah, but they don't get it, and I'm accused of not having the powers of debate. But you're talking numbskulls.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anyway. I'll debate that, John. I'll certainly debate that. But anyway, we are running out of time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Unfortunately, so again, thank you for watching. Please share, subscribe. Please watch. Please share. Please comment. Please question. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Apologies for the poor language, bad language, naughty. See you soon, mate. Thanks for your time.
Good night, John.
Cheers, mate.